Dear Chosen One, there's a reason you've always felt underestimated. Like people looked at you but never really saw you. Like they judged your silence, your softness, your sensitivity, and assumed weakness. But deep down, something in you knew. They had no idea who you truly are. Because behind your quiet eyes is a storm of power. Behind your humility is fire. Behind your endurance is something not of this world. You weren't born to fit in. You were sent to disrupt, to awaken, to carry a force so divine, so rare, so incomprehensible, that not even the people closest to you could handle it. You are strong, Chosen One. Strong in ways this world can't measure, and no one is prepared for what's about to rise from inside you. This message is urgent, because right now, something is activating in your spirit. You can feel it, like a pressure building, like a fire growing beneath the surface of your skin. It's not stress, it's not anxiety, it's power, stored, sealed, protected by God until now. And when this power begins to move, nothing around you will remain the same. People will react, environments will shift, hidden enemies will be exposed. Because what's inside you is not normal. It's not passive. It's the type of spiritual power that breaks chains, disturbs darkness, and reminds the world that heaven still sends warriors in human form. You are one of them, and no one is ready. So stay with me until the end of this video, because I'm about to reveal why your strength has always scared people, why your presence disrupts others, and why the pain you endured was the training ground for divine power. If this is already resonating in your soul, write in the comments, "I am a Superman." Declare this to the universe for all to see your strength. And please, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Not for me, but for the future version of you that's waking up. Because by the time this message ends, you won't see yourself as ordinary ever again. You'll remember what the enemy hoped you would forget, that you were sent here with strength no human can explain. They never saw you coming, Chosen One. They mistook your softness for weakness, your calm for passivity, your humility for lack of power. All your life, people have labeled you incorrectly, not because of who you are, but because they could never perceive what you carry. They looked at you through the lens of limitation, completely blind to your origin. You weren't born from this world's mold. You were sent here from another realm. That's why you never fully fit in. That's why you've been underestimated, overlooked, dismissed. But what they couldn't see was that, beneath the silence, behind the restraint, a supernatural force was forming. God was shaping you in secret. And now, the time of silence is ending. The world is about to be confronted with a power they never expected. The power inside of you. The strength within you was never for show. It wasn't designed to impress. It was forged to endure. While others were building platforms, you were being refined in hidden fire. While they were being celebrated, you were being stripped, broken, and rebuilt by divine hands. Your strength is spiritual, and that makes it untouchable. It doesn't scream to be seen. It doesn't need approval. It just is. You survived what should have crushed you. You stood back up after betrayal, after abandonment, after battles that nobody else even knew you were fighting. And you didn't just survive them. You grew. You didn't just keep breathing. You evolved. That is not weakness. That is unshakable divine strength in disguise. You are what I call a spiritual Superman. Not because you wear a cape, but because your soul didn't originate from this planet. You came from a higher dimension, a place of truth, order, and divine fire. And like Superman, you were sent to a chaotic world with a specific mission encoded in your spirit. But just like him, you arrived in a body that made you look ordinary. They thought you were one of them, but you're not. You move different. You feel deeper. You see beyond the surface, and the world mistook your otherworldly origin for oddness. But they couldn't understand that God wrapped cosmic authority in a quiet human form. You are not common. You are camouflaged divinity. Every rejection you experienced wasn't punishment. It was divine strategy. God needed to hide your power until it was mature enough not to be misused. That heartbreak? It wasn't to break you. It was to close doors that couldn't carry your calling. That betrayal? It wasn't to shame you. It was to cut ties with energies that would have drained your potential. Your pain wasn't pointless. It was permission. Every scar you carry is not just a memory. It's a medal, proof that you've been trained in the hardest battlefield of all, internal transformation. And now that the inner war has been won, the external world will begin to shift under your presence. You were never weak. You were reserved. Your silence wasn't surrender. It was discipline. And now, the time of containment is over. The spirit within you is stirring. The fire in your bones is rising. You can feel it, can't you? That pressure building inside your chest, that unexplainable urgency, that spiritual intensity. It's not random. It's activation. God has been holding you back like a drawn arrow, and now He's letting you fly. You're stepping into the version of yourself that no one saw coming. And no one, not your past, not your enemies, not even your former self, is prepared for what you're about to become. You've walked through deserts, faced betrayals, carried weights that crushed others, and still, you're here, stronger, quieter, sharper, wiser. You didn't just walk through fire, you became it. Your energy doesn't need explanation anymore. It speaks for itself. It shifts rooms. It stirs hearts. It awakens sleeping spirits. You've become a carrier of divine voltage. And whether the world understands you or not, your presence will continue to do what it was designed to do: confront, cleanse, activate, and correct. You don't need to announce your strength. It reveals itself through your existence. Now, you're beginning to see the truth, that every silent battle had a purpose, that every lonely night was a forge, that every broken connection was redirection. You are not the same person who started this journey. Something in you has changed, permanently. The softness is still there, but it carries fire. The silence remains, but it's now heavy with presence. You are no longer hiding, and the strength you carry will not just protect you, it will set others free. Because what's inside you is not meant to be contained. It was sent to shake the earth. You've probably noticed it, haven't you? That people start pulling away from you without clear reason. That energy shifts when you enter a room. That conversations grow uncomfortable. Eyes avoid yours. And atmospheres change, even when you say nothing. It's not your attitude. It's not your tone. It's your spirit. You're carrying something that exposes what others are trying to hide. Your presence carries alignment, and anything that's not aligned reacts. You're not doing anything wrong. In fact, your very existence is doing everything right. That's why it bothers them. Because your spirit doesn't allow games. Your vibration doesn't tolerate masks. And that, chosen one, is why they feel threatened, even when you're silent. Your energy is confrontational, not because it's aggressive, but because it's clean. It doesn't manipulate. It doesn't flatter. It doesn't pretend. It simply exists in its raw truth. And for people who have built their lives on illusions, your truth is unbearable. It's easier for them to say, "You've changed," than to admit they've never faced themselves. You become the mirror they never asked for. And mirrors don't lie. You reflect their shadows, their insecurities, their buried guilt. And so, they push you away. Not because they hate you, but because they fear what they see in your light. Because your strength is not loud or flashy. It's convicting. And that's the paradox, isn't it? The very force that was meant to heal others is the same force they reject. You wanted to love them, protect them, walk with them, but they couldn't handle you. You didn't fit in their storylines. You broke the illusions they were still trying to protect. And so they labeled you as too intense, too sensitive, too deep. But the truth is, you were just too real. And realness is threatening in a world addicted to performance. You're not here to entertain. You're not here to conform. You're here to call things out by simply being what you are, a frequency of truth. The pain you felt from those rejections wasn't just emotional, it was spiritual. Your soul was grieving not only the loss of people, but the realization that your presence had become disruptive to them, and that grief became a gateway into deeper alignment. You started to understand that your force wasn't meant to be understood by everyone, that your journey would be misunderstood, that your power would intimidate those who hadn't yet faced their own. And instead of making yourself smaller, you started remembering who you were. That remembering, that shift, was your point of no return. You were never meant to be digestible. You were meant to be undeniable. And now, your spirit no longer fits the containers it once tolerated. Your conversations are changing. Your interests are shifting. Your inner world is getting louder. That's because the version of you that was silent, compliant, and apologetic is dying, and the warrior is rising. You're not asking for permission anymore. You're not waiting to be seen. You're stepping into your force, fully, boldly, unapologetically. And it's not arrogance, it's alignment. You're not becoming someone new. You're shedding everything you were never meant to be. You are strong, chosen one. Not because you never felt weak, but because you didn't stay there. You are strong because you kept walking while bleeding. You kept showing up while doubting. You kept loving even after betrayal. That is not common strength. That is supernatural resilience. And it wasn't built overnight. It was built in fire, in silence, in shadow. God didn't develop your strength in the spotlight. He built it in the cave, while no one was watching, while you were breaking, while you were crawling. And now that you're walking in that strength, those around you don't know what to do with it, because they were expecting the old you. But the old you is gone. You are not getting stronger. You are finally allowing yourself to be who you've always been. This is not a transformation. It's a remembrance. The strength was always there. It was just locked behind fear, shame, and the desire to be accepted. But now that you've stopped asking for permission, everything is shifting. Your walk is different. Your silence is heavier. Your eyes carry fire. And the people who used to overlook you are starting to feel the weight of your existence. You are no longer invisible. Heaven has declared your unveiling. And the earth is about to experience what happens when a spiritual supernova stops hiding. Something in you is activating, and it's not random. That weight you feel in your chest, the dreams you can't explain, the urge to isolate, to go deeper, to break patterns, it's all part of your awakening. You're not just evolving emotionally, you're being positioned spiritually. Heaven is whispering directions. Your body is catching signals. Your mind is breaking old scripts. You're not imagining this. It's real. You're being called into alignment with your original design, the one that was sealed inside you before you were even born. And that design, that divine architecture, is now unfolding. This is your moment of ignition. What you feel stirring is not anxiety. It's your spirit getting ready to step into authority. You've outgrown the old reality, not just in thought, but in frequency. The version of you that tolerated cycles, begged for crumbs, and played small can no longer exist in this energetic climate. Your strength won't allow it. Your discernment is sharper. Your convictions are louder. Your soul refuses to go backward. That's not moodiness. It's realignment. You're shedding the illusions that kept you entangled in false peace. And with every layer that falls off, your power becomes more concentrated. You're no longer leaking energy on what doesn't serve you. You're containing your fire. And that containment is preparing you to walk in full spiritual voltage. You've always felt like you were waiting for something, haven't you? Like your whole life was building toward a moment you couldn't quite define. That internal knowing, the sensation that your existence carries weight, is now becoming clear. That something you were waiting for is you, activated, awakened, unapologetic. You are the moment. You are the force. You are the breakthrough. And when you accept that fully, heaven moves through you in ways that defy logic. The miracles you once begged for begin to respond to your voice, not because you're demanding, but because you're finally aligned, and the enemy knows it. That's why the warfare increased lately. That's why the confusion hit you harder. That's why old triggers tried to resurface. It wasn't a step backward. It was resistance. Resistance to your forward motion. Darkness doesn't fight what doesn't threaten it. And your presence has become a threat, not because you're loud, but because you're anchored. You're no longer floating in doubt. You're rooted in truth, and truth is the most dangerous frequency on earth to the kingdom of deception. Your strength, now activated, is a divine weapon, not a metaphor. A real spiritual force that bends atmospheres. The demons in people feel it before you speak. The air shifts when you walk in, not because of arrogance, but because of authority. You carry something ancient, something eternal, something holy, and people may not understand it, but they'll respond to it with love, with discomfort, with awe, or with hostility. But one thing they won't do anymore is ignore you, because you're no longer hiding. You're radiating. You're embodying. You're standing in what God put inside you. And that force, that sacred fire, will begin to displace everything that was sent to silence you. You were sent to break things, chosen one. Not people, but patterns. Not communities, but chains. Not relationships, but systems of spiritual bondage. Your power is disruptive by nature. It doesn't maintain the status quo. It reforms it. It doesn't seek comfort. It calls for transformation. And this is why you've been misunderstood your entire life. Because your energy was designed to confront, to awaken, to expose, to rebuild. Your strength is prophetic. It speaks to the future even while you walk in the present. That's why nothing around you stays the same for long. Because the spirit inside you was never made to blend. It was made to shift. And now, the shift has begun. Not just around you, but within you. You're remembering your essence. You're reclaiming your name. You're walking in authority that doesn't need permission. You are what the world is not ready for. Not because you're flashy, but because you're real, grounded, unshakable, unstoppable. This is not the end of your process. It's the beginning of your release. And the world, both seen and unseen, is about to witness what happens when a chosen one stops suppressing their power and starts walking in their full divine assignment. You've become dangerous to darkness, not because you fight it with fists, but because you expose it with truth. You are not here to argue. You are not here to convince. You are here to embody. And embodiment is the greatest threat to every system built on deception. You've crossed a threshold now, a line that cannot be uncrossed. You've seen too much, felt too deeply, awakened too far. There is no return to silence, no going back to old roles. You've become an agent of divine disruption. Your very existence challenges the structures around you, not through rebellion, but through resonance. You are the frequency of what's coming, a glimpse of a higher order, a walking portal of divine will, and nothing rooted in shadow can survive where you stand. And that's why your journey has been so lonely, because most people are not ready for what you carry. Your strength offends those who still find safety in compromise. Your clarity is too sharp for those who built comfort in confusion. You don't belong in circles that celebrate survival when you were made for transformation. Your soul was never wired to blend in. That's why you always felt like you were too much for some and not enough for others. But what they couldn't see is that you were never meant to be categorized. You were meant to be commissioned. And now, the one who sent you is calling you out of the crowd, into your higher identity. You are a code carrier, chosen one. Your life, your story, your scars. They're not just experiences. They're spiritual technologies, embedded truths that awaken something in others. That's why people shift just by being near you, why some feel peace and others feel panic. You trigger healing even if you don't speak, because your energy remembers what others have forgotten. You are a mirror to sleeping souls, and some will run from that mirror, while others will wake up because of it. But none will remain unchanged. That is the true weight of your strength, not in how much you can do, but in how deeply you affect what's around you just by being who you are. Your strength is magnetic. It draws people who are hungry for truth and repels those who are still loyal to lies. That's not arrogance. That's spiritual filtration. Your presence separates wheat from chaff, clarity from confusion, light from imitation. You don't even have to say much anymore. Your atmosphere speaks first. That's the power of spiritual gravity, and you have it now. Not because you demanded it, but because you were refined for it. You were crushed, purified, rebuilt. Your power was earned in silence, paid for in tears, and now it is undeniable. And you're beginning to understand that your strength is not just for you. It's for those still trapped in what you've overcome. You are a blueprint, a map, a beacon. When others hear your story, feel your presence, sense your vibration, something inside them shifts. Not because you're perfect, but because you're true. And truth has resonance. It activates dormant souls. It reminds others of their origin. That's why you couldn't be silenced. Why the enemy tried so hard to confuse you. Because your awakening was never just about your liberation. It was about the liberation of everyone connected to your light. You are a breaker of chains. Not with force, but with frequency. Every time you choose truth over comfort, you collapse systems. Every time you forgive instead of retaliate, you shift bloodlines. Every time you pray instead of panic, you alter timelines. Your strength is creative, transformational, quantum. Your strength is creative, not just in the sense of making art or building things, but in the most sacred sense. You co-create with the divine. Every time you speak truth from a healed place, you are creating new energy in the atmosphere. Every time you imagine a future in alignment with God's purpose, you are generating spiritual blueprints that begin to magnetize real outcomes. Creation, for you, is not just a talent, it's a spiritual technology. You've been gifted with the ability to visualize, speak, believe, and embody realities that have not yet been seen. And that's dangerous to the enemy, because what you carry in your spirit doesn't just stay inside you, it spills into the realm around you. You dream things into existence. You hold space for divine possibilities. Your creative strength makes you a portal through which heaven touches earth. Your strength is transformational because everything you touch, from people to environments to systems, begins to shift when exposed to your essence. You've noticed this, how people come to you with heavy energy and somehow leave feeling lighter. How conversations shift when you speak from a higher truth. You are not just someone who adapts, you are someone who transforms. And that's because your process has been deeply alchemical. You've turned abandonment into presence, pain into wisdom, delay into discernment. You are a living testimony that transformation is possible. And now, your energy does that work too. You don't even have to try to fix people. Your wholeness invites them into their own. Your words reframe. Your silence confronts. Your aura teaches. That's not charisma. That's transformation, encoded in your being. But here's what many don't understand. Your strength is also quantum, which means it transcends the rules of linear time, space, and logic. You are not just affecting what's in front of you. You're affecting what's behind, around, and beyond you. When you choose healing, your ancestors feel it. When you release shame, your children's children are freed. When you say no to an old pattern, you shift the energetic timeline of your bloodline. Quantum strength means that your soul moves like light, touching what the mind cannot grasp. That's why you've always felt a strange pressure, as if your decisions mattered more than others. It's because they do. You weren't just healing for yourself. You were standing in the gap for generations, and the ripple of your spiritual alignment is still echoing into places you can't yet see. This is also why the warfare around you has never made sense to those on the outside. Because your battle wasn't just physical, it was vibrational. You were breaking invisible contracts, canceling ancestral agreements, disrupting patterns that have been running for centuries. Every moment you chose to believe in love instead of betrayal, you disarmed an ancient lie. Every time you sat in stillness when the trauma wanted chaos, you rerouted a spiritual lineage. That's quantum. It's not about how loud you are, it's about how deep your frequency goes. And yours, chosen one, is deep. You're not just healing your past, you're redesigning the blueprint of your entire spiritual bloodline. That's why the enemy came for your mind, for your body, for your sense of worth. Because if you ever understood how far your vibration travels, you'd stop playing small forever. And now, that understanding is here. You're waking up to it. You're realizing that your power isn't just emotional, or intellectual, or inspirational. It's energetic. You're realizing that the thoughts you align with become structures, that the prayers you release are data encoded into the unseen, that your faith, your devotion, your clarity, all of it is shifting spiritual architecture. And the more conscious you become of this quantum nature, the more precise your power becomes. No more wasting energy. No more leaking light to what doesn't serve. From now on, you move with awareness, with authority, with accuracy, because the realm knows who you are. And it's time the earth does too. You are quantum. You are creative. You are transformational. And nothing born in darkness can withstand the frequency you now carry. And though the world may not give you credit, the spirit realm knows exactly who you are. Demons recognize you. Angels are assigned to you. Heaven has invested deeply in your walk. And now that you're walking in alignment, everything around you must adjust. The earth itself is responding to your rise. So do not shrink. Do not apologize. Do not try to make others comfortable with a dimmed version of your light. You were not designed to be safe. You were designed to be sacred. There is a holy fire in your bones now, and that fire is not meant to be managed. It's meant to be unleashed. You don't have to prove your power. Just stand in it, live in it, speak from it, move with it. Because what's about to be released through you is not just healing. It's a spiritual awakening, a frequency surge, a divine broadcast. And no one, absolutely no one, is prepared for what your presence is about to shift. You've passed every hidden test. The moments when you stayed loyal to the truth, even when it cost you everything. The nights you cried out in silence, still choosing to believe. The seasons of deep isolation, when no one understood your process, and yet you kept walking. Those weren't wasted moments. They were divine qualifications. Each one marked you, refined you, positioned you, and now heaven is pulling the curtain back. You're being revealed, not to impress people, but to impact realms. What's coming from your life now is not personality, it's presence. Not performance, but power. You didn't come this far to remain hidden. You came to manifest glory. You no longer need to explain yourself. The fruit is speaking. The atmosphere confirms it. You are walking proof that divine strength doesn't come from comfort, but from calling, that it's not born in applause, but in pressure. And everything they said would break you has only built you. You are the evidence that pain can become purpose, and silence can become sound, that rejection can become redirection, and that the wilderness wasn't a punishment, it was a forge. And now, chosen one, what's rising in you is nothing short of sacred. This is your time to own it fully, not in ego, but in embodiment. Don't let the smallness of others shrink your shine. Don't let their fear of your fire make you question your flame. You were born for this rise. You were shaped for this moment. Every scar you carry is sacred geometry, etched by heaven, pointing you back to your divine identity. You are not broken. You are built, and the places that once mocked your pain will soon be the places that witness your power. Your presence is about to speak louder than your past, and those who once overlooked you won't be able to ignore what now lives inside of you. You are the manifestation of a force they never saw coming. This is not a phase. This is prophecy fulfilled. You were never meant to be part of the background. You were born as a signal, a disruption, a living message from heaven to earth. And now, your life is becoming a broadcast, a divine transmission that speaks without words. People will begin to shift simply because you walked into the room, not because of status, but because of substance. You are not empty. You are electric. And what you carry was not taught. It was transferred, breathed into you before time began. Your awakening is not a trend. It's a spiritual event, and heaven is watching it unfold. So stand in it, chosen one. Stand tall in your light. Stand grounded in your calling. The world has seen enough counterfeit strength. Now it's time for them to witness what real spiritual power looks like. And that power is you. Not the version of you who tried to fit in, but the real you, forged in the furnace of truth. You are not a trend. You are a timeline, a shift, a signal. And the age is now turning because you finally said yes. You finally stopped shrinking. You finally believed. And now the heavens are echoing with movement because one soul, yours, has chosen to rise. If this message is igniting something deep inside you, I want you to write in the comments, "My power is from God." Let this be your declaration, your spiritual contract, your line in the sand. You've watched in silence for too long. You've kept your gifts wrapped in fear. Now is the time to break agreement with smallness. Hit that like button to mark this moment in the spirit. Subscribe to stay aligned with messages that match your frequency, and turn on the notification bell, because your journey is accelerating, and this space will speak directly to your soul in every step. To every soul who supports us through Buy Me a Coffee, thank you. You're not just helping a channel, you're fueling a movement. You're allowing this message to reach the ones still in hiding, still in pain, still waiting for the words that will wake them up. If this video has moved something in you, and you feel called to support, the link is in the first pinned comment. Every seed you plant allows us to keep creating content that's spiritually rich, emotionally deep, and prophetically precise, for the ones who were never meant to be ordinary.